Hiya, in this series we're going to have a look at making a small platform game in Gamemaker. So the first thing we're going to do is download some assets, and then we're going to have a go at getting a basic tile set together and then make a level in Gamemaker. So in the first episode we need to go to Kenny Home or 2D Assets and actually download a free asset pack. So Kenny's got lots of amazing assets on here, and some are free, some are paid, but we need the Pixel Platformer pack. And obviously once you've made the game you can go about changing the sprites. If you can't find it, just type Pixel in there, it should narrow down the search. So we're going to start off with Pixel Platformer, and this tile set you can arrange in any way you want to create your different level designs. So go ahead and download that. I've already downloaded it. Unzip it, and then you should have a folder. Right, I'll get rid of that one. You should just have a folder like this, unzipped, and it'll have several different folders inside. The one we want is tile map. In tiles there are all the individual blocks, but we're going to import it as a tile map. And there are two tile maps in here we're going to use. We're going to use the packed characters. So these are the packed characters. They look blurry because they're very small, and as I'm zooming in, it's applying a filter and blurring them, so they're not blurry in Gamemaker at this scale. So we've got some characters, and we've also got the packed tiles. So we'll be using these to generate our levels. Okay, let's leave that open. And another thing while we're here is Kenny has some tools as well, including Creature Mixer, which is a really good tool. And what you do with Creature Mixer is you just use it to change the shape of these characters and the parts of the characters. And you can basically generate your own individual character, how you want it to look, and change the colour of different parts. So the brown parts could be pink or purple or magenta. So you can create really unique individual characters, and then you can download the sprite sheet of all the animations. You can randomize things as well if you're feeling lucky. Right, so once we've got all that out the way, we can head over into Gamemaker. I'm going to make a new project. So new blank project, and I'm going to just call it level 2 L2 test. Call it whatever you like. Look where you're saving it as well. So I'm saving it in my documents, Gamemaker Studio 2. So that's important that you know where it is. When you've got your project, let's go, and you'll have your blank project set up. So in the workspace at the moment we've got nothing. We're going to first of all start by creating a tile set and sprites. So let's import the sprites, some sprites. I'm going to go onto sprites, right click and create a sprite. And then what I'm going to do from there, I'm going to import it, and I'm going to go to my downloads. If I can find my downloads, I might have to go there. Kenny Platformer, go to the tile map, and I'm going to get the tiles packed. So I'm going to start with. It says importing it is not an undoable action. Do I want to continue? Yes. So now we've got all the sprites in there. So that's cool. So next thing I want to do is make a tile set. So I'm going to create a tile set, And in the tile set, I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it main tiles with no space, main tiles. And for the sprite, I'm going to choose our sprites folder, which corresponds to this here. And I'm going to just choose sprite 1. We are going to name things properly later on, but we've now got these tiles here. And it's when we zoom in, I'm using Control and the mouse wheel, and then I'm using the middle mouse button to move around. What we can actually see is these grid does not line up with the tiles. So they've got a width of 16 on here. So we need, it looks like they're a little bit wider. So let's try 20. Does that look better? That looks like too much. Let's try 18. Okay, so you can see they now seem to fit. Let's do the same for the height. So now that looks right. Everything is inside the grid. Each grid block has a tile. So that's what you need to bear in mind when you're importing a tile map, that you get the grid size correct. So that's the tile map done, and you can move around this workspace, and you can minimize things as well and move them about. It's really good how you can do that, or you can click on here to get back to them at any point. So it'll just focus on that asset. So now we've got the tile set, we've got the sprites. Let's make a room. So click on your room, right click, create room. So we're going to be in room 1, and then we'll make a room 2. So make sure you're on room 1. This little house symbol tells you that this is the room that will load when the game starts. So we do want that first of all. Actually, I shouldn't have made another room. I didn't realize it had already got one, but not to worry. So room 1, what we need to do is we've got some layers. We've got a background layer, which is the black, and then an instance layer where we'll put our character. But we also need a tile layer. So I'm going to, above the background, click on here, create new tile layer, and it says tiles 1. And then over on this panel on the right hand side, there's the assets, and in the room editor panel we've got tiles. We can choose a tile set. So in the tiles folder we've got our main tiles, and again we can zoom in on this, and we can actually then start dragging and moving things around. You can put multiple tiles down at once, and you can also delete tiles. So let's start building up our little room. So I'm going to do it from the top corner. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So maybe initially I just want something really basic. I just want to build down. I've got to now think about how big do I want this room to be, because at the moment it's this big and I don't want it to be that big. You can actually play the game, clicking the play button here, and that's what your game will actually look like. So the graphics are very small. So I think if we build a smaller level, and we can see the size down here. So as I move across, so I think maybe here will be good. Let's have a look. 2, 5. So you can just eyeball this. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see about how big that is. So let's just imagine that's going to be our level. So what we need to do is we need to look at the room properties and actually set this up. So we've got a width and a height. Now, we know that the tiles are 18. So we need to have it in multiples of 18. So let's say I did 10 times 18. That would be 180. The room would be that wide. So let's double it. So 20 times 18. That would be 360. It would be there. Yeah, that looks a good width. I can work with that. What about the height? So again, we could go for 360, then we'd have a square game, which that might be what you want. Or we could do a bit less. So I'm going to get the calculator out. Whoops, that's not the calculator. That's a picture of a calculator. So let's try 18, because we know the blocks are 18. Let's try 16 high, 288. Let's see what that looks like. 288. I think that's still a bit high. Let's try 14 times 18. So 14 blocks high. Let's try that. 252. 252. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted, that type of shape. And obviously you can adjust that. If you want it 12 blocks high, you do 12 times 18. So let's say that's going to be my level. Maybe I don't want these on the top. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to click onto the background layer, and I'm going to get a color, and I'm going to change the background. So you can do this to whatever you like. Yeah, something like that. That will do. And then we need to continue to build up our level. So let's add some more stuff to it. So make sure you're on the tile layer, and then we can, I'll just move this over. We can use these tiles here to create something. So I'm going to start off by just putting in a ground floor. Maybe I'll have a little wall or something, or let's have a think. I'm just going to get that. I'm just going to put that there. Maybe there. Yeah, I'll get this middle one. And you can build really whatever you like with this. Yeah, don't really know. But you can do whatever you want with it. It's up to you. I'm going to put the ending of the game there. So that's maybe where the ending's going to be. And your character will start over here and try and jump up. We might have to move things around a bit as we go. We'll have to see. But we'll just start with that and get that working first of all. So that's your room one. Now when you play it, what you're going to find is it's very small, because that's the actual size in pixels. It's 360 pixels. So what we want to do is we want to make it bigger, but without making it blurry. So in your room, go to Viewports and Cameras and click Enable Viewports, and click in Viewport 0 and make it visible. And now what's happened is we've got a camera that's going to have a view and look at a screen. So if you look at it now, we've now got a big window again, but with a small game. What we need to do is scale the game up to fit the window or fit the view to the game. So let's have a look. We know the width of the camera is 360 and 252. 252. So now the camera will fit the game, but the width of the viewport is still really big. Now we've got another problem now. We've scaled it up, but as you can probably tell, it's stretched. So a little bit of maths again. If we've got 360 across and we want it to be twice the size, we could times it by 2 and that would give us 720. So let's type 720 in there. And then the height was 252. So 252 times 2, that would be 504. So let's try 504. This should be double the size. So again, that's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit better, but it's still quite small. So let's do it 3 times. So we've got 360 times 3, 1080. So what we need to be careful of is that we keep the same aspect ratio. This relationship between the width and the height, we need to make sure that's the same. So 252 times 3, so it's 3 times bigger, 756. Now when we run it, we should have a bigger window that's perfectly in scale, and I think that's okay for a starting point. You could make it bigger, but I think for a lot of monitors that will be quite good. So if you start making it much bigger, it will get too tall for a lot of monitors. This is on a 4K monitor, so it probably looks a bit smaller than it would do on a 1080p or 1440p screen. So there's the room 1. The game's running, it all works. In the next video, we'll import the sprites for the characters, and we'll put a character in the level, and we'll try and get the character moving about and jumping about. I think there might be about 4 or 5 videos in this series. We'll add in a moving enemy. We'll add in a key to collect. We'll add in some more rooms. We'll add in a start screen and an end screen where you die. So that will be a complete game then, and then you can add to that as you wish. So I'll see you in the next video.